Good morning. Today's Tuesday, January 18th. We're bringing you the latest news making headlines to help start your day.
A 19-hour standoff with a gunman that forced the evacuation of an entire local apartment complex has finally come to an end. It happened at the Gwinnett Point Apartments off Beaver Ruin Road. Our
Tori Cooper is at the scene with the very latest information. She starts off our coverage in today's Morning News Rewind.
Yeah, investigators are still out here, and now it's obviously past that 24-hour mark. Take a look. Just in the last few hours, we did learn that this is the apartment complex where this all transpired. They say they received a call, two separate calls from a man inside this apartment complex for a medical emergency. Now, that medical emergency was unknown, but they say when they got here, they tried to get him to come out. That he refused. They ultimately determined that he had weapons inside, and that's when they decided to evacuate this entire apartment complex. Now, while the SWAT teams were trying to get him to come out, there was a very loud boom that went off while our crews were on scene. Take a listen. Now, it's unclear what made that very loud banging sound, but just for context, overall, when SWAT teams are trying to get someone to come out, they will use a flashbang because they're trying to make the suspect lose focus, but we were not able to determine that as of right now. But they say Terrell Adams is the man that made that call from inside this apartment complex. They didn't tell us if he was a resident, but they did say he was firing gunshots at police throughout the day, and police were returning fire. This standoff obviously lasted over 19 hours, but the suspect, who they tell us is in his mid-30s, was ultimately unharmed.
He is in custody. The SWAT officers were able to make entry and breach the door safely after evacuating all the residents from the apartment complex.
Now, residents who live here were obviously very cold, very upset while they were out here, but thankfully no one was hurt. But there's also still a lot of unknowns in this case that we have been pushing on for the last 2 hours, and still no answers from police. We're trying to figure out if he was a resident here, if he had a history of any criminal history or any history of mental illness. Of course, we will continue to push on this throughout the day and hopefully get a picture of this individual and share it with you right here as soon as we do. Reporting live in Gwinnett County, I'm Tori Cooper, CBS 46 News.
Tori, thank you. Happening today, a Cobb County father convicted of intentionally leaving his son in a hot car to die is back in court. Justin Ross Harris is appealing, asking for his conviction to be overturned. CBS 46's Rebecca Schramm has been covering this case since it first happened 8 years ago. Rebecca, Harris wants a new trial.
Yeah, he does, Rob. You know, this is a case that people all across the world were talking about several years ago. The case was appealed at the county level and denied. Well, now Harris's attorney will take the case here to the highest court in the state of Georgia. Of course, the Georgia Supreme Court. Let's take you back. It was June of 2014 when Justin Ross Harris drove to work and left his 22-month-old son, Cooper, strapped in the back seat. The temperature that day was in the upper 80s. When Harris returned to the car 7 hours later, little Cooper was dead. Harris told police it was an accident, that he had forgotten to drop off his son at daycare. Prosecutors would eventually tell a jury Harris intentionally killed his son to free himself from an unhappy marriage. A jury in Cobb County convicted Harris of murder, and he is serving life in prison. Now his attorney is asking for a new trial. He's going to argue this morning that the trial judge made errors and shouldn't have allowed evidence of Harris's extramarital communications with women, saying that had nothing to do with the death of his child. A little over a year ago, just before the first appeal, the parents of Justin Ross Harris told us their son believes whatever happens is God's plan.
He said if one child lives because of me, I'm okay with it. I would like to see Ross get a fair trial. Fair and honest. Yeah. And I want to see him walk in my back door before I die.
And this morning's hearing here at the Georgia Supreme Court will take place virtually. We will have updates for you throughout the day. Live in Atlanta, Rebecca Schramm, CBS 46 News.
Welcome back. We have a CBS 46 crime alert. Local neighbors are fed up as suspected thieves break into multiple cars just in a matter of minutes.
CBS 46's Trayson Bragg is in Atlanta, and Trayson, neighbors think that these crooks were after something very specific because they left a lot behind.
That's right, Kavir. I mean, they think that they were after something that could be deadly in the wrong hands. And like Rob said, yeah, they're very fed up. I want to show you something. Take a look to my left here. I've been telling you all morning about the construction out here. That is a larger piece of the pipe that's actually keeping residents from being able to park in their driveway here, which is why a lot of residents say these mass break-ins happen. And take a look. This is a common scene along the streets, just massive amounts of patches of shattered glass after all these break-ins. Now, many people who live in this Virginia Highlands neighborhood woke up to the unpleasant sight Monday morning. That's the sight of dozens of burglarized vehicles with smashed windows. Neighbors say more than 50 vehicles were hit in the area, some even parked in their own driveways. Now, take a close look. APD says these are the crooks responsible for this widespread window demolition. They eventually sped off in this blue car, but what might be most surprising is that they sped off after all this destruction without taking a thing. In fact, neighbors say that there was not one theft report made, leading many folks to believe that they were under the search for guns.
They'd obviously rummaged around because everything from the glove compartment was out and they hadn't taken anything. I mean, there were a few things in there they could have taken.
Yeah, a few things that could have been taken. Here's one big one. In one of the cars that were actually burglarized, neighbors say that there was actually a laptop computer in there that was left alone. The burglars did not take it, again, leading them to believe they were searching for something specific. We'll continue to follow this investigation and let you know the very latest as soon as those details are available. Reporting live in Virginia Highland, I'm Trayson Bragg, CBS 46 News.
Trayson, thanks for that information. Thieves are now targeting delivery trucks and freight trains as a source of goods to steal. UPS had one of its 18-wheelers jammed with packages hijacked in late December in Atlanta. In Los Angeles, train tracks were recently littered with shredded boxes after thieves looted freight trains. The packages were items consumers had bought from retailers, including Amazon and REI. According to media reports, an Atlanta-based UPS says it's helping customers who have been affected by the thefts.
That is so crazy. It's like a throwback to the wild, wild west.
It's just amazing. No one's out there to potentially stop that, too.
Absolutely. Hey, trending this morning, U.S. officials are urging Team USA to leave cell phones at home in hopes to avoid cyber attacks during the Winter Olympics. Yeah, it's certainly interesting. Let's get it over to Brooks Baptiste. He has the stories topping your social media feeds. Brooks?
Hey, a very good morning to you guys. Team USA will start arriving in China in about 2 weeks, and athletes are being urged to use a burner phone over fears of hacking at the 2022 Winter Games. A warning was reportedly sent out to the athletes about the risk of using an ordinary cell phone while in Beijing. And U.S. officials are encouraging the team to dispose of their burner phones and laptops following the games because of possible surveillance in China. Well, some big wins for a Netflix film that Western lovers can't seem to get enough of. The Harder They Fall taking top honors at the African American Film Critics Association Awards. Now, the film ended up taking Best Picture, Best Ensemble, Best Director, and Best Music. All right, well, we've been wearing masks for nearly 2 years, and most people would tell you that they've had about enough of it. But a new study reveals why face coverings could make you a little more attractive. Researchers say the blue face coverings give off a positive aspect, so it's got to be blue. And they say this is because people in, these caring healthcare professions, they tend to wear them, so it creates this psychological shift away from disease to caring qualities. I know my eyebrows are kind of up in the air right now too, but there is no denying that masks still cover, half of your face. So I don't know if that's really what makes you more attractive or what it is. And I'm not throwing any shade to anybody, but I'm just saying those are the facts right there. So.
I say, and I said it before, on those days when I'm not quite feeling my best, I'm like going to Publix, put on a mask, nobody sees you. It's all good.
I guess.
Your eyes. That's it.
That's it. And it kind of highlights, I don't know, maybe your eyes if you look in the mirror, but
right.
I've noticed myself looking really tired when I just saw my eyes when I looked in the mirror the other day. So that's not a great look either. I don't know.
A lot of you are headed back to work and maybe school today. However, the below freezing temperatures do have school delaying or canceling classes in some places this morning. So let's give you a look at those. Banks County is closed today. Beaufort City Schools is on a 2-hour delay. Fannin County will have a virtual learning day. Gainesville City, Habersham, Hall, and Lumpkin County schools are all closed today.
And Pickens County schools will have a virtual learning day. Rabun County schools closed. Towns County and Union County schools will have a virtual learning day. and White County schools are closed. So for updates on delays and closures, you can check out our website, and we do have a ticker scrolling at the bottom of your screen all morning.
We're keeping an eye on today with some of the stories you need to know.
Today, Douglasville police are expected to release new information in the murder of a 15-year-old on New Year's Eve. Police say they'll be revealing the names of the multiple suspects arrested and identifying several others who are wanted in connection to the teen's murder. The shooting back on December 31st happened during a house party on Deering Court. Officers are also planning on identifying the victim today.
The Department of Homeland Security is alerting local law enforcement, warning that there could be future attacks on faith-based communities. It comes after what the FBI says was a terror-related anti-Semitic attack on a Texas synagogue. The suspect was killed. All of the hostages escaped unharmed.
COVID cases fueled by the Omicron variant keep surging, and health officials say the peak in the U.S. is still a few weeks away. But cases in the Northeast are beginning to slow down, and tomorrow, the White House will launch a new website where Americans can place orders for free at-home COVID tests.
A Buckhead man is in the hospital this morning after a tree fell on top of his home. It happened on Old Ivy Road early yesterday morning. That man was trapped in the bedroom. Firefighters were able to rescue him. 2 others inside the home were not hurt.
As cleanup continues, Hall County government facilities are delaying their opening again today. Officials are still worried about black ice and other hazardous conditions. The Hall County Courthouse and all library branches, as well as other government facilities, will open at 11 this morning. And check this out. In the Northeast, this weekend's winter storm meant football practice was canceled for a lot of kids. So at one high school near Pittsburgh, the coach told his football players to find an elderly or disabled neighbor and shovel their driveway. The students were not allowed to accept any money. He called it their Monday workout.
It's about community. We talk about it in our program all the time. So this is another chance we have to go out and interact with our community in a positive way and show them that they're important to us.
She was excited. She asked how much it was. We said it was free of cost. She was all excited and thankful for it. It was just nice to see that.
Welcome back. At 6:27, these are just stunning images from the Seattle area where a landslide and a water main break destroyed this home. The homeowner was outside assessing street flooding when his house literally gave way. His wife and their puppy were still inside.
He starts to yell, get down the stairs. I'm like, there's no stairs.
They're gone.
Me and my puppy are up on the top floor looking down, and I can see the side of the living room, like the whole side of the house is off.
She slid down and we kind of lifted her, and then the police officer put her on his back.
That is unbelievable, right? Incredibly, that woman and the puppy weren't hurt. 14 other homes were evacuated. Investigators say it's still unclear if the water main break caused that landslide or if it was perhaps the other way around.
Thanks for watching CBS 46 News. Watch us live wherever you are, our mobile and our streaming news app. You can also watch us on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.